When you've got looters, drug dealers, and meth addicts running amok in your town, there's only one person to call, and that's the Fuzz. Wolfcop's next on Drew Reviews. Guys, on this channel, as you know, I do a lot of action, a lot of sci-fi, a little bit of horror. Horror comedy is something I don't really get into a whole lot. And in this last decade, one of my favorites of that genre was Wolfcop from 2014. This movie was so much fun. A good friend of mine where I used to work actually let me borrow it, and I hadn't seen it in probably 5 or 6 years until today. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to review that movie because it's a lot of fun. Uh, Basically, the plot of this movie, you got this down and out cop named Lou Guru, and I wanted to talk about how that name is a real great attention to detail because the Lou Guru was actually a werewolf in French folklore. So I thought that was cool, and I guess like down in the Louisiana swamps, people still talk about the Lou Guru or whatever. But yeah, I like the character Lou in this, and he's this just down and out alcoholic cop. Uh, Pretty much a loser, always showing up for work late. And one night he goes to check on something, and of course he gets knocked out, doesn't know what happens, wakes up with a pentagram carved in his chest the next day. And that night he goes to the bar, and kind of unbeknownst to him, he becomes a werewolf in a scene that is so painful if you're a guy to watch that. But it's gruesome. The scene that they all walk into the next day, and he has a little bit of a recollection of what happened, but like a piece of his skin is there. She's like, "Hey Lou, this looks like your face." His partner Tina. That's really gross and fun. This entire movie's like that, just over the top, gory and fun. From that point on, he pretty much figures out he's a werewolf. His buddy Willie is the one that kind of pieces it all together for him. And of course, that night, Willie's going to take video of his transformation in his cell. He ends up turning into a werewolf, breaking out of there, and the two of them go out enforcing the law in some great scenes that we'll get into. Along the way, you find out that his superior, the sheriff, and the mayor, and even his friend Willie, they all turn against him. They are shapeshifters, and they feast on werewolf's blood, and they have to do this every 30 years. So Lou was kind of chosen to become the werewolf, to become their victim, in their ploy for longevity. And along the way, you know, you've got this background. There's this drink and shoot that they do every year, where all the townspeople go out and get drunk and go out and try to shoot this mythical creature. I kind of wish was played up more in this movie. They ended up canceling the drink and shoot. There would have been hunters out there and everything, but I felt like that was kind of a missed opportunity. But that's the basic plot of Wolf Cop. You've also got the character of Tina. She's the other deputy. It's funny because Lou's such a loser, such an alcoholic that they have the Employee of the Month plaque up, and she's on all of them for years. Just Tina, Tina, Tina. I thought that was pretty funny. But what I really like about this movie is it feels like a grindhouse movie without being a grindhouse movie. I guess because it was independent, it was made in Saskatchewan for about $1 million. But looking at this, with some of the ambitious drone shots and some of the creature effects, when he's turning, it doesn't look like $1 million movie. It looks like this could have been a $5 or $6 million movie. And while I'm going on about the technical things I like about the movie, I really like the music, the stoner rock thing, obviously. I like early to mid Black Sabbath there, and I like The Sword and bands like that. But yeah, I really appreciate the music in this, especially during the action scenes, which is where this movie really shines. Especially, it really gets kick-started there, where he turns into the wolf, and him and Willie go out to Liquor Donuts, which is a great name for a liquor store. And the piggies, the guys in the pig mask are holding it up. He comes in there, takes a guy out. The other guy, what the hell for you? I'm the Fuzz. I love that scene and how it's paid off later when Tina and the sheriff come in there. And it's like, go ahead, give your description. He's a big effing wolf cop. I love it. I'm not going to do the Asian voice, but it was really funny. I really liked that scene. The scene later on at the meth lab, I thought that was great too, when him and Willie go in there and just tear that place up. that scene where he rips the guy's face off and throws it on the windshield, and Willie hits the windshield wipers and blood goes everywhere. I love that in any movie. But when he rips the guy's face off, the skeleton's there's a lot of articulation. I thought that was great. And as he's taking out more guys, Willie's sitting in the car, and the skeleton comes up to him and screams. I thought that was good. And I love the character of Willie. I love that actor, whoever played him. His dialogue in this is great. You know, there's a scene where there's some kids and they're spray painting, they're tagging the side of this building, and Wolfcop comes up behind him and just starts marking his territory, pees all over him, and then growls, and the kids take off. And Willie's like, maybe you should lay off the asparagus, buddy. Just stuff like that really cracked me up. It's like, man, maybe you should keep a low profile. There's a guy running around without a face. Just some really great dialogue. But those scenes are great. But the one scene that most people probably think of when they think of this movie is the sex scene, which is also a pretty great scene. You've got the bar owner, that's the love interest to Lou, the wolf cop, and as he's locked up one night, she comes in dressed as Little Red Riding Hood. Oh, what big teeth you have. They end up getting it on while he's a wolf. He's got her pressed up against the bars, and she's topless. It's just to this song, Midnight Desires, which is totally 80s, and you wouldn't think it would fit, but it totally does fit this scene. It's just, I remember the first time I watched this, I told my wife, oh, she's going to get it on with the werewolf. You just have to see the scene. I talking about it here can't do it justice. In the end, as I said, everybody ends up turning against him. You know, they were using him as a sacrifice so that they could keep their shapeshifter powers and keep control of the city that they were in there. And I guess that was okay. I really wanted better for that character of Willie. You know, he was this bumbling idiot with all these great one-liners. But you've got him, and you've got the mayor lady who's probably 70 or 80 years old. She was actually the hot girl. And he's like, I had sex with an old woman? Who said I was a woman? And of course, the sheriff was actually the main bad guy that owned and ran the meth lab. So in the end, him and Tina end up taking down all three of them. But that was Wolfcop, man. And including the credits, this thing runs like an hour and 19 minutes. So yeah, if you got like an hour and 15 minutes of your life that you just want to laugh at something, this is definitely worthwhile. The first 20-25 minutes are kind of slow, but once his penis erupts in that bathroom and he becomes a werewolf, all bets are off, man. And it's a lot of fun, especially from that second act on. This movie is one of my favorite movies of the year it came out, which was 2014. You know, it's funny because when I do that ranking, you've got John Wick, which is going to be really high there. You've got Guardians of the Galaxy, which is one of the few comic book movies that I just absolutely love. And you've got this little bitty movie called Wolfcop there somewhere in the middle. And where will all those rank? How will I juggle those? We'll find out when I do that ranking. But yeah, I can't recommend Wolfcop enough. I'm going to give this a 7.25, 7.2 out of 10. I think on IMDb it's a 5.5. And I don't know what movie everybody's watching that voted on there, but they weren't watching the same movie I was with the same zeal and just same fun that I was having, because that's what this movie is. But yeah, man, if you don't like Wolfcop, maybe you're taking life a little too seriously. Maybe you should seriously consider having your meds checked. Make sure you've got the right chemical balance going on in your brain, because this movie's a lot of fun. Let me know what you think of this movie down in the comments. Do I rank it too high? You know, I really don't care if you think I rank it too high. I have a lot of fun with it. So guys, if you like what you see, like what you hear, like movies like Wolfcop, be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, guys, I'm Andrew, and I'll see you down the line.